Here we have a Honda Supersport 404 from 1976, and we're going to tell you in this video why it might be worth you considering a classic bike before you go and buy a brand new bike.
If you're thinking about buying one of these motorcycles, there is a really easy way to get this bike for much cheaper than its market value. And you could actually get this bike for £3.99. So if you want to find out how, click the link in the description.
A bike like this from the 1970s was built when there were much fewer rules and regulations for manufacturers to worry about and less hoops to jump through. And you can see that with this air-cooled four-cylinder engine with these beautiful exhaust pipes that run through. Today you have to have all that water cooling and sound deadening and all that sort of stuff. This was from a different era altogether, and you can feel it in the bike. If I were to compare it to a modern motorcycle of today, it would be the Royal Enfield Classic 350. It's got that sort of feel about it. This isn't particularly fast, it's a 400cc, but it's just the right amount of power and speed for the everyday world. If you were commuting to your office, it would be the perfect amount of power to do it. And it's very manoeuvrable. It's got very sharp steering, so in slow moving traffic you can move in and out very easily, and it's a great bike to ride, and it looks cool, doesn't it, as well? So you can't really go wrong with the looks.
Now, I don't know, but I've been told that subscribing to this channel has increased our subscribers' luck at getting this. Oh, got it warmed up. Woo! That four-cylinder engine sounds blimmin' good. What a bike. It's got a lovely feel to it. The throttle, it's all very connected. Oh, that's a big puddle. It's been raining a lot. Ah, I've just noticed an issue. The rev counter's stuck. It's stuck at 5,000 RPM. Oh, it's gone down. That was weird. It got stuck then. Oh, that's bloody hell, that's a big pothole. This road's awful. Yeah, had to sort of choke it for 2 minutes to warm it up, then it would work. The rev counter got stuck then. It was stuck at 5,000, so I didn't know what I was doing. It's gone down again now. Yeah. Yeah, okay. What a noise! Now, when this bike was delivered, I was expecting it to have more character, what we call character, than it does, and a lot of people don't like what we call character, but this is a rather refined bike and it does feel ahead of its time. It's very smooth, it's like as smooth as butter, and I honestly can't believe that this bike is from the 70s. It feels like it could be from the 90s or the 2000s. It really is ahead of its time, and I suppose the Japanese were really quite ahead in terms of manufacturing and the quality of what they did. That's why they were so popular. But as I say, I'm 6'1", and the riding position, the bars are quite narrow, so it doesn't feel like a big bike, and it's not. It's a 400cc, but it's a really good bike for in the city because you've got narrow bars and it's so light and flickable. You can go in and out of traffic brilliantly on this bike. So if you're looking for a commuter, could it be better to buy an old bike like this than a brand new one. It's certainly an option. These bikes were lovely and clean when they got delivered to us. I'm afraid they're not going to be clean for long. Not on these filthy country lanes. This bike doesn't particularly feel like as old as it is. It's quite manoeuvrable. It's very smooth. That's Honda for you. Lovely smooth 4-cylinder. That sounds brilliant. It almost sounds like a, you know, sporty little hot hatch. Peugeot 205 GTI or something. Sounds fantastic. Now, as we say, this is a beautiful looking motorcycle, and we recently made a video comparing a Suzuki GT185 from 1974 to a brand new naked 125, but none of you watched it. So if you do go back and watch that, we sort of compare what's happened, what's changed in design. And some people say, oh well, the bike you compared it to was very sporty, but this bike literally says on the tank super sport. So this is what sports bikes used to look like, and it's absolutely beautiful. You've got this beautiful chrome mudguard on the front, which actually protects the bike from muck. There still is a little bit of muck on the engine because the roads are quite muddy at the moment. Beautiful chrome spoked wheels, absolutely stunning twin dials. I really like the look of these. You've got your speedometer on the left and your rev counter on the right, and in the middle you've got this sort of small cluster which has some lights which tell you your indication, your beams, neutral and oil, which is these days all within the speedometer, but it's nice to have it separate because it keeps everything simple and easy to read and stunning. The bars are very narrow, and that is something that's quite characteristic of Japanese motorcycles. They never really have wide bars. They're very narrow. You've got these nice chrome mirrors, which I can't see that much of the road behind me because I'm a bit too broad for them. Very typical Japanese 70s switch gears. They are quite similar to other Japanese bikes. A very nice fuel tank. This is quite a narrow fuel tank really, not compared to the Matisse that we've got at the minute, but it's a beautiful colour, nice shape, lovely fuel cap, beautiful engine. It is stunning, isn't it? And it's a shame because I do think Honda have lost their way when it comes to, and a lot of the Japanese manufacturers, when it comes to styling of an engine. Everything was beautiful in the past, and this really is a fine example of that. It's a stunning engine, and nowadays things just don't look quite right. It looks like a plastic cover with an engine somewhere inside of it. Whereas this, everything's real and everything looks fantastic. Beautiful exhaust, which again, nowadays they've, you know, pointy and weird. It's coming out at different angles. It's got huge silencers. Part of that's to do with regulations. Lovely bench seat, which sort of sweeps up towards the back. Nice and comfortable. Beautiful indicators, a nice rear mudguard that comes down far enough to make sure that you don't have a muddy back and bum. And again, twin shocks at the rear. It's just stunning. Everything about this motorcycle is beautiful. And I think if we had this bike on its own and we didn't have it with the Matisse, we might have been drawn to it a little bit more than we have been, because we've been distracted by how outrageous that Rickman Matisse really is.
Now, Darcy mentioned just a minute ago that we did that comparison between the what was it, Suzuki 185 and a modern 125. Now, to be quite honest, we were going to be a little bit more brutal about the modern bike, but you know, we had to be respectful that the dealership had lent us it. But we really did want to slate it a lot more than we did. But modern bikes have, I mean, I know some people don't like what we're saying, but it's true, isn't it? The modern bikes have become so flipping ugly. I mean, with these insect lights and horrible riding positions, all cramped up, and so stifled by regulations and horrible fat exhausts. And the styling has just become just horrendous. And we say it so many times, but if only what needs to be done, really does, is to go back to this era, 60s, 70s, 50s even. Look at bikes from that era and start again. Because building upon what has happened each year, and it's going down the wrong road. If you imagine you're going further and further down the wrong road, but you're building upon that each time, that's where we are. We need to go right back down to there and start going back to where we should be. And you know, God knows what's going to happen in a few years' time from now when the petrol ban comes in. In fact, watch our film that we made, sort of tongue-in-cheek movie with this bike and the Matisse back in the future. It's quite entertaining, but really, what are we going to do? Because electric bikes aren't really the future, because it's not the environmental wonderful magic thing that people think it is, because you've still got to dig up all the resources to make the thing, and it's better to keep an old motorcycle running than it is to build a new one in terms of environment and pollution and emissions and carbon footprint and all that stuff. So it really is, genuinely. So the governments don't know what they're doing. But you know, if we carry on as we are, we're in a terrible position. So we really do need a big change. I'll say no more than that, because we don't want to get political, but we do need a big change to stop this ridiculous thing. I'm an environmentalist. I absolutely adore the world, the nature, and there is a problem, but the solutions that are being offered at the moment are not the solution to the problem. Now, I happen to know that this motorcycle is easy to push, and I'll tell you why. When we were filming yesterday with this bike and the Rickman Matisse, the number plate fell off the Rickman, and we got home, and that's when I noticed, oh my goodness, it's fallen off. So I went back to retrace our steps to find the Rickman's number plate. Now, I'd got onto the journey quite a long way, and then it started running out of petrol. I thought, oh no, for goodness sake, because we actually went to the petrol station that morning, and I thought there's bound to be enough in there. It looks like half a tank. It hasn't got a petrol gauge, so I thought, no, it'll be fine. But it wasn't. So I ran out of petrol, so I had to push it about 2 miles back into town to the petrol station and fill it up. So at least, you know, a bike like this is easy to push, and it was a fabulous workout. I mean, I had my cardio for the day, so I was quite happy, but very hot. But they're nice and light, and you do feel the lightness when you're riding it as well.
I couldn't even hear that this bike was still on. That Matisse is so loud. Crikey. This feels very compact compared to that. Oh, what a noise. You've got to be real careful on slippery, muddy roads, because it can be as slippery as ice sometimes. And you don't want to learn the hard way. That's the engine braking. This is a rather steep hill. Engine braking, fantastic. Keep me at 15 miles an hour in second gear. It's not really getting carried away. 18 miles an hour. Very good engine braking, that's nice. Save your brakes a bit. Now tomorrow we are taking delivery of the BSA Gold Star, not an old one, but the brand new one. And the reason is because when I went to a motorcycle show last year, I saw the new B65 Scrambler that they're bringing out, and it looked rather cool. And then we rode the Bear 650 in India from Royal Enfield. So before we get a chance to ride the B65 Scrambler, whenever that may be, I wanted to revisit the Gold Star to remember how it feels, the character of that motorcycle, and do a bit more lifestyle content with that bike, because we haven't done that before. We've only really had a limited amount of time with that motorcycle, and when I did have one for an extended period of time, it was a heavily customised scrambler version and a cafe racer, and an even more heavily customised scrambler. So I've forgotten what the original standard bike feels like to ride, so we're going to remind ourselves of that and make some awesome videos, so you don't want to miss them, and we'll see you next time on that bike.